The metallic hum of the starship Erebus echoed softly through its expansive corridors. It was a massive vessel designed for deep space exploration, and every corner of it gleamed with the efficiency of advanced engineering. Among its newest crew was Cadet Orion Kade, a 22-year-old with sharp features, dark curls, and a restless determination in his hazel eyes. Orion's first weeks aboard had been anything but smooth, adjusting to life among seasoned crew members, most of whom seemed indifferent to the young recruit, left him feeling isolated. The only thing more daunting than the endless black void outside the ship was navigating the social dynamics within it. One morning, during a particularly grueling training session in the ship's gym, Orion's concentration wavered as a commanding voice cut through the air. "Cadet Kade, focus." He turned to find Commander Eli Varek observing him. The man was an embodiment of authority, broad shoulders, a chiseled jawline, and short, jet-black hair, streaked with a touch of silver. His piercing green eyes seemed to see right through Orion. He wore his uniform perfectly, the fabric taut over his muscular frame. "Yes, sir," Orion stammered, cheeks flushing. Eli's mere presence seemed to draw every bit of air from the room. The commander's reputation was legendary. He had led missions through hostile space and brought his crew back against impossible odds. To have his attention, even briefly, was overwhelming. Over the next few days, Eli's gaze seemed to linger on Orion during training drills and crew meetings. At first, Orion thought he was imagining it, but the commander's subtle smiles and the way he'd occasionally stand just a little too close told a different story. It was as though Eli was studying him, waiting for something. One evening, Orion found himself alone in the observation deck, staring out at a swirling nebula in the distance. The door hissed open, and Eli entered, his presence commanding as always. "Couldn't sleep?" Eli asked, his deep voice resonating in the quiet room. Orion shook his head, trying to compose himself. "Just needed some air. Or, well, space, I guess." Eli chuckled, the sound low and rich. He stepped closer, standing beside Orion. For a moment, they both gazed out at the nebula, its vibrant hues reflected in the glass. "This can be a lonely place," Eli said softly, "especially for someone new." Orion hesitated, then nodded. "It's been harder than I thought. Everyone seems to know their place. I'm not sure I fit in yet." Eli turned to him, and Orion could feel the weight of his gaze. "You're stronger than you think, Cadet. I've been watching you. You have potential, more than you realize." Orion's heart raced. There was something in Eli's tone, a warmth that contrasted with his usual stoic demeanor. He glanced up, meeting those striking green eyes, and for a moment, the world outside the observation deck seemed to fade away. "Thank you, sir," Orion managed, his voice barely above a whisper. Eli's lips quirked into a small smile. "You can call me Eli when we're off duty." The days that followed were charged with a tension Orion couldn't ignore. During training, Eli's hands would linger just a second too long when correcting Orion's form. In the mess hall, their glances would meet across the room, unspoken words passing between them. Orion found himself drawn to the commander, his confidence and strength intoxicating. One evening, after a particularly exhausting mission simulation, Orion returned to his quarters to find a message waiting for him. It was from Eli. "Meet me in my quarters, 2100 hours." Orion's heart raced as he made his way to Eli's quarters. The door slid open, revealing a room that was both minimalist and distinctly personal. Eli stood near a small desk, his uniform jacket discarded, the black undershirt emphasizing his muscular build. "Cadet," Eli greeted, his voice softer than usual. "Commander," Orion replied, suddenly feeling very aware of the small space between them. Eli's lips twitched. "Eli," he corrected, stepping closer. "I've been meaning to talk to you." Orion swallowed hard. "About what?" "About this." Before Orion could respond, Eli reached out, his hand brushing against Orion's cheek. The touch was electric, sending a shiver down Orion's spine. Eli's green eyes searched his, as if asking for permission. Orion's breath hitched, but he didn't pull away. Instead, he leaned in, their lips meeting in a kiss that was both tender and intense. Time seemed to stand still as they explored each other, the barriers of rank and protocol melting away. When they finally broke apart, Eli rested his forehead against Orion's, a rare vulnerability in his expression. This isn't easy for me," Eli admitted, "but I can't ignore how I feel about you." Orion smiled, his confidence bolstered by Eli's words. "Neither can I." From that night on, their connection deepened,